So after all the fights announced that we've had over this last, couple weeks, we have another one, not officially announced, but rumored. We're going to go over that new rumor. Please, you guys, drop a like below, comment down below, and please subscribe.
Nothing wrong with being a virgin and a nerd.
So over the last couple days, we have been getting rumors that the UFC will be returning to Canada for that January pay-per-view card for UFC 297. And now we officially have that as a confirmation that yes, the pay-per-view will be taking place again in Vancouver, Canada. If you remember, back in June, we had a card, in Canada, for the UFC's return. Big moments on that card, like Mike Malott, Charles, coming back after defeat against Benil, and then obviously the retirement of Amanda Nunes. And so that leaves pretty much many questions, like who could headline this card in Canada. I mean, the crowd was absolutely electric that day. Definitely an awesome place to go to, but we don't have Canadian champions, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, what champ are we just gonna stick on that card type of situation. And reports have come out since that the UFC will be targeting the featherweight title for that main event, as Alexander Volkanovski is set to headline against undefeated Ilia Topuria. So this is, not the biggest shocker in the world, just because there isn't a clear contender at featherweight. Obviously we have Max doing his thing, but it seemed like Dana wasn't excited for another fight of Volk versus Holloway.
I don't know if you throw Max at him again at this point in Max's career. I don't love it. Do you love it?
We also weren't sure if Volk's next fight would be at 55 or 45. It was kind of like up in the air. But, it seems that they are just going to throw him, the undefeated prospect, not prospect anymore, contender, Ilia Topuria. However, they did set this fight up, back when, Volkanovski defeated Yair Rodriguez. They had that face-off, hinting that that fight would be next. And, now it is here. So, so-called, Ilia has now gone on an interview show in Spain and basically said that the fight is all but finalized. And so look for that to be happening in January.
Faltan un par de cosas por cuadrar, pero el 20 de enero parece que va a ser en Canadá.
20 de enero en Canadá.
Exactamente.
And man, I feel many types of ways about this fight. I'm not the biggest fan of the idea of Ilia fighting for the belt, just yet. I'd like him to get one more fight in before he fights Volkanovski, just so he can get that experience under his belt. I mean, you guys all know Volkanovski. I mean, he has all the championship experience needed. I mean, the guy has had the belt for years now. Many title defenses, even, that champ move up to, lightweight that he had earlier this year. And the guy is in talks for being, the greatest featherweight of all time. And, in my eyes and in many people's eyes, is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. So you're not asking Ilia to just fight a champion. I mean, you're asking him to fight, like I said, the #1 guy in the world. And his last fight was a dominant performance against Josh Emmett. So it's kind of hard to not be like, okay, well, you just dominated Josh Emmett, go and give him to Volkanovski. I could understand why fans want to see it. They just, at this point, just throw him to the wolves, see what happens, because there's no other guys really for him to fight. I mean, Ortega, we don't know what's going on with Ortega. Yair's, still on the sidelines. I mean, Holloway, unless you want to, derail the hype behind Ilia Topuria, you don't give him Max Holloway.
Can I say one thing, though?
Please.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
And I'm talking to Ilia, if he's watching. Please don't fight Max. Just don't fight Max. All right, let's just not let that happen.
Okay.
Let me be the guy to beat you up.
So there's not many options for Ilia at this stage. So while I'm not the biggest fan of this fight happening right now, it is the fight that will, most likely 100% take place in January. When you really break the fight down on a skill by skill basis, I mean, Ilia on paper should be the most competitive fight for Volkanovski, judging off the fact that both men are the most skilled you know, well-rounded fighters in the featherweight division. And the fact of Ilia being, you know, younger, you know, 25 years old, undefeated, challenging for the belt. I mean, he's coming into this fight with so much confidence, you know, having the whole country of Spain, you know, Georgia behind him. I mean, it's kind of Conor McGregor-esque, you know, type vibe behind him. And I don't believe this will be the same fight as, you know, Yair Rodriguez, where Yair kind of held back a little bit. I, you know, could definitely expect to see, you know, Ilia pressing forward, going forward, landing those boxing combinations. But man, I just feel that the championship of experience, you know, that Volkanovski has had like throughout these, you know, last couple years. I mean, I'm just gonna say, you know, there's levels to this game, and I feel like Volkanovski is gonna put, you know, just a schooling on Ilia. Regardless of what you think, though, this fight is not going to a decision. I mean, the way Volkanovski looked against Yair, I mean, he looked like he was a man on a mission. And Ilia the same way. I mean, the way he dismantled Bryce Mitchell, Jai Herbert, up a weight class too. I mean, Ryan Hall, Josh Emmett. I mean, the guys he's beaten, not even to mention Damon Jackson as well. Like, this fight is definitely, I feel like, the best fight you could put on at featherweight. Just, I would have liked to see it just a little bit later down the line. We are also getting, you know, rumors of Henry Cejudo also fighting on that card against Merab Dvalishvili, but those are just, you know, talks. I'm gonna go over that on a later date as well. But please, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you have winning this fight, Ilia Topuria or Volkanovski. Please comment down below and subscribe.